So hi everyone, welcome to Percentage second class. So in this class, we'll be talking about successive increase or decrease, right? Successive increase or decrease, right? And this also we'll be doing at the tips of our fingers. Why? Because we have already done what multiplying factors are. We are very comfortable with multiplying factors, right? But before we move on to this topic, I'll ask you one question. Let's say all of you must have heard the term discount, right? Discount, all of you must have heard, and you must have heard successive discount, right? Successive discount, correct? Now, what does it mean? So, many places you go to, they offer you, let's say you go to a shop, that shop will say that I'll give you a 70% off, and post that I will give you another 30% off. Does this mean that they are going to give you 100% off, 70% and 30%? No, this does not mean that. What does it mean? It simply means that for, let's say there is a there's an item for rupees 100. They'll initially offer you a 70% off. So once 70% of 100 has been removed, 70 is gone, you're left with 30. And once 30% of 30 is gone, that is 9 is gone, you're left with 21. So the effective discount that you're getting is nothing but 79% and not 100%, right? So this is or what successive discount means, correct? Right? Successive discount, discount over discount, right? And successive discount of 70 and 30% does not mean 100% discount. It simply means a 79% discount, right? Now I'm asking you a question. Ki chalo, let's say you go to a shop. Okay, there are three shops. You want to buy a pair of jeans and there are three shops. Shop one is telling you that I'll give you a 40% off, then a 30% off, and then a 20% off, right? Shopkeeper 2 is telling you that first he will give you a 30% off, then he will give you a 40% off, and then he will give you a 20% off. And shopkeeper 3 is telling you that first I'll give you a 20% off, then a 30% off, and then a 40% off. Which shopkeeper will you go to, right? Which shopkeeper will you go to is the question, right? Think about it. Now, once you have thought, all those who are of the opinion that they'll go to shopkeeper 1 are wrong. All those of the opinion who will go to shopkeeper 2 are also wrong. And the people who are of the opinion that they'll go to shopkeeper 3 are also wrong. Why? Because eventually all these three are the same. All these three are the same. How? Let's try and understand. So let's say you have 100 rupees. Initially, a 40% discount has been offered. So 40% discount on over 100 would mean what? So 40% of 100 is 40, right? So 40 is gone, you're left with a 60. Then another 30% of it is gone. Now 10% of 60 is 6. So 30% will be 6 into 3, 18. So another 18 is gone, you're left with a 42. And now another 20% is gone. So 10% of 42 is 4.2. 20% will be 4 into 2, 8.2 into 2.4, 8.4. So another 8.4 is gone. What are you left with? You are left with a 33.6. Correct? So what you are left with? You are left with a 33.6. Now the second shopkeeper said that initially I'll give you a 30%. Right? 30%, I believe. 30, 40, 20. Right? So 30 is gone. You are left with a 70. Now over that, he's telling you another 40%. Right? So 10% of 70 is 7. 40% would be 7 into 4, 28. This is gone. What are you left with? A 42. Another 20% ka cut would mean another 8.4 gone. You are left with a 33.6. Coming to the third shopkeeper. He is first offering you 20, 30 and then 40. So 20% of 100 is 20. That is gone. You are left with 80 rupees. Another 30% means 80% ka 10% is 8. 30% would be 24. 24 is gone. What are you left with is 56. Iska 40%. So 10% is 5.6. 40% would be 5.6 into 4. So 5 into 4 plus 0.6 into 4. Correct? So 5 into 4 is 20. 0.6 into 4 is 2.4. Another 22.4 is gone. So after another 22.4 is gone, check with your calculator, you'll still arrive at 33.6. So no matter to which shopkeeper you go to, eventually you are going to pay the same price if the successive discount offered, no matter in what order they are, if the values are equal, you will be paying eventually the same price at every single place, right? So what does successive discount means? Successive discount simply means that no matter what the order is, no matter what the order is, final value will be the same. Final value will be the same if increase or decrease value is same. Correct? So if no matter what the final, no matter what the order is, the final value will always remain the same. That simply means that whenever you have to increase, let's say if you have to increase something by 20% and then by 25% and then by 50%, it doesn't matter in which order you are increasing. Or if you're decreasing something initially 20%, then 25% and then 50%, it doesn't matter in which order you are increasing. You can increase in any order that you want. Right? You can increase in any order that you want is the first thing that you have to remember when doing successive increase or decrease in terms of percentage. Right? That is something that you'll have to remember. Now coming to why does it become so simple for us? Because why? Because of we know this multiplying factor. Because we know multiplying factor, things become very easy for us. Right? Let's see why. So let's take the previous example only. Let's say we have 100 rupees and there is an increase of 20%. Then an increase of 25% and then an increase of 50%. Right? So the only thing that we have to do is see multiplying factor for 20% would be 1 plus fraction, that is 6 by 5. Multiplying factor for 25% would be 1 plus fraction, that is 5 by 4. 50% के लिए 1 plus 1 by 2, that is 3 by 2. Now, the only thing that you need to do to arrive at the final answer is 100 multiplied by the multiplying factors. And those multiplying factors can also be written in any order that you want to write. Right? Let's see. What does it go? 5 se 5 is gone. 2 se 6 is gone 3 times. 4 se 100 is gone 25 times. 25 into 3, 75. 75 into 3, 225. You see how easily we have calculated the final value for us. How easily we have been able to calculate the final value for us, you see over here. Similarly for the decrease part as well, right? So decrease part, the multiplying factor for 20% decrease is going to be what? 1 minus fraction. So 1 minus fraction is this, you have a 4 by 5. For 25%, the multiplying factor is 1 minus 1 by 4, that is 3 by 4. For 50%, the multiplying factor is 1 minus 1 by 2 is equal to 1 by 2. So my final answer is going to be nothing but 100 multiplied by 3 by 4 multiplied by 1 by 2 multiplied by 4 by 5. Right? 4 se 4 is gone. 2 se it is gone 50 times. It is gone with 5 10 times. 10 3s are 30 is my final value. Right? And in no matter what order you do, you're always going to arrive at the same answer. So this is what successive increase or decrease means. That you can perform the concepts in any order. And if you are comfortable with multiplying factor, this is how easily you can calculate the values. Right? So this is how easy it is going to be to calculate the values. Correct? कुछ और questions करते हैं. Let's say on 200 rupees. 200 rupees, there is an increment of 33.33%. Then there is an increment of 83.33%. And then there is an increment of 75%. Right? So multiplying factor for this is going to be, अब देखो धीरे धीरे once you keep practicing आपको याद होने लगेगा. 33.33% is what? 1 plus fraction, that is 4 by 3. Right? 83.33 is what? 1 plus fraction. 16.66 is 1 by 6. So 83.33 will be 5 by 6. So 1 plus fraction. 75% is 25% is 1 by 4. 75% would be 3 by 4. So 1 plus 3 by 4. What value do you get over here? So this you get 11 by 6 and this you get 7 by 4. Correct? The only thing that you have to do is 200 multiplied by 4 by 3 multiplied by 11 by 6 multiplied by 7 by 4. And you will arrive at your final answer after whatever increment has to be done. Right? How? 4 se 4 is gone. 3 and 6. इसमें this will go 100 times in 2. This will go 3 times in 2. What do we have eventually? 700 multiplied by 11. So 700 multiplied by 11 is going to give me a 7700 divided by 9. 7700 divided by 9 would give me 8. This would go in 8 times. You'll be left with 50. It will go 5 times. You'll still be left with 50. It will go 5 times. And this will continue. Right? So this will be the final value after all the increments that are being made. After all the increments that are being made, 855 would be the final value that we will be having. Right? So you see how easy it becomes to solve the questions once we are comfortable with the multiplying factor part. And on the same lines, if you want to reduce, so for 33.33%, the multiplying factor would be 1 minus 1 by 3, that is 2 by 3. For 83.33%, the multiplying factor will be 1 minus 5 by 6. 1 minus 5 by 6, that is 1 by 6. And for 75%, my multiplying factor will be 1 minus 3 by 4, that is nothing but 1 by 4. So my final answer will be 200 multiplied by 2 by 3 multiplied by 1 by 6 multiplied by 1 by 4. Correct? 2 से it is gone 3 times. 4 में 200 is gone 50 times. What are you left with? 50 divided by 6. That is nothing but 16.66. Correct? So if you are comfortable with the multiplying factor part, successive increase and decrease become very easy for you. Right? It's going to be very easy for you if you are comfortable with the multiplying factor. Right? Now we also have to find the percentage increase or decrease. Percentage increase or percentage decrease. Right? So what do you mean by percentage increase and percentage decrease? Let's try and identify. Okay. So let's say 100 rupees is increased by 25%. Then by, let's say, another 20%. And let's say by another 66.66%. Right? Now, how much? अभी तक तो we were looking कि final value क्या होगी. Now we'll also be looking कि final percentage increase या decrease कितना है. So how much is the final percentage increase? How much is the final percentage increase? So first thing that you need to do is you need to identify the final value. Now, how do you identify the final value? Your original value multiplied by the multiplying factors. Now, your multiplying factors are going to be 25% के लिए the multiplying factor would be 1 plus 1 by 4, that is 5 by 4. Right? 20% के लिए it is going to be 1 plus 1 by 5, that is 6 by 5. 66.66% के लिए it is going to be 1 plus 2 by 3, that is 5 by 3. So this is the only value that you have to calculate. Right? So your final value is going to turn out to be equal to what? So there is a 3, this goes 2 times, the 5 goes, and this 4 goes, this takes up at 25. 25 5s are 125, 125 into 2, 250. So my final value is 250. Right? So what is my percentage increase? My percentage increase is nothing but final value divided by original value. Final value divided by original value gives you what? 250 divided by 150. This gives you 5 by 3. Right? Final value by original value gives you the multiplying factor of 5 by 3. Correct? Sorry, my original value was 100, right? My original value was 100. Sorry. So this will give me a 5 by 2. This will give me a 5 by 2. Now 5 by 2 simply means what? 5 by 2 simply means a value of 2.5. Right? Now this 2.5 will give you what? 2.5 minus 1 multiplied by 100 gives you percentage increase. Right? So 2.5 minus 1 is going to be what? 1.5. 1.5 into 100 will give you the value of 150%. Right? And this is another form of multiplying factor. This is just another form for the multiplying factor. So let's understand this part as well. Right? It's a very interesting one. So whenever you have to calculate the percentage increase, all you have to do is future value divided by original value. And if you want, if you're comfortable with in calculation part with fraction, it's fine. Otherwise, if you want to use your calculators, you can use that. So future value by original value will give you a multiplying factor. -1 multiplied by 100 will give you the percentage increase. For example, let's take an example. Let's say my final value is given to be as, let's say 135. My original value is given to be as 100. Right? So I have to tell you that how much percentage is this value more than this? Let's say this is the question. Right? So what you can do is that 135 divided by 100 will give me a multiplying factor of 1.35. Now this 1.35 simply means that 1.35 minus 1 multiply by 100, that is 35% is your percentage increase. So this 35% is your percentage increase. And this is something that you can do in any case. It's very simple to do that, right? Whatever value you have, let's say you have a 145, final value is 145, original value is 90. You have to calculate that how much percentage is 145 more than 90. Multiplying factor turns out to be 1.5. Subtract 1, you are left with 0.5. 0.5 into 100, 50%. Right? So this is another form of multiplying factor. Right? So to calculate how much percentage is one value, by how much percentage one value more than the other, the only thing that you are required to do is final value divided by original value. Whatever multiplying factor you get, subtract 1 from it, multiply it with 100, you will get the percentage increase ka part. Right? You will get percentage increase. And this is nothing but this is what? 3 by 2. If you want to convert it into fraction only, that's also fine. See, this is nothing but 3 by 2. 3 by 2 is what? By 2 was the original value. 3 is the final value. So there is an increase of 1 over 2. That means an increase of 50%. This is nothing but what? This is 20, I feel 27 divided by 20. So it's nothing but an increase of 7 over 20. By 20 तो original था. 27 फाइनल है तो ओरिजिनल से ज्यादा कितना है 7 ज्यादा है तो 7 by 20 by 10% was 2 20% is 4 30% is 6 40% is 8 दोनों के मिडिल में 35%. So this is not something that we are doing something different. दोनों सेम चीजें बस your call, you want to go via decimal approach, you want to go via fractional approach, right? That's your call. Whatever you want to do, whatever you are comfortable with. So anytime you have the final value, you have the original value, multiplying factor -1 multiply by 100 will give you the percentage increase ka value. It will directly give you percentage increase ka value. Correct? Similarly for discount decrease as well. Let's try and understand. मान लेते हैं कि the final value is 80 and original value is 120. Still your multiplying factor would be calculated by final value by original value. So final value is 80, original value is 120. Right? But because here is a decrease, slight different, because if there is a decrease, the multiplying factor that you are getting is 0.6666. And in case of decrease, what was the multiplying factor? 1 minus fraction. Right? 1 minus fraction. So the value that you are getting over here is 1 minus x. 1 minus x is equal to 0.6666. So x is equal to 1 minus 0.6666. That is x is equal to 0.3333. That is nothing but 33.33%. And if you want to go via the fractional approach, that is also fine. So what you are getting is 2 by 3. Now my original value was 3. My final value is 2. So I see a decrease of 1 over 3. A decrease of 1 over 3 simply means a decrease of 33.33%. Right? A decrease of 1 over 3 simply means a decrease of 33.33%. Now again, whatever approach you want to go ahead with. Right? Let's solve one more question on decrease as well. So let's say my final value is equal to, let's say it is equal to 150. And my original value is equal to, let's say 200. Right? So what you can do to calculate what is the percentage decrease? Final value by original value. That's the only thing you're required to do. So final value is 150, original value is 200. You want to go via fraction? Let's go via fraction. This becomes 3 by 4. So my original value is 4, my final value is 3. That means I see a decrease of 1 by 4. 1 by 4 ka decrease means 25% ka decrease. You want to go via the decimal approach, this is 0.75. 0.75 simply means 1 minus 0.75 you have to do. You arrive at 0.25. 0.25 simply means a 25% ka decrease. राइट। तो इंक्रीज के केस में जब आप इफ यू गो बाय द डेसिमल अप्रोच, सिंपल सी बात है, रिमूव 1 एंड मल्टीप्लाई बाय 100। डिक्रीज के केस में इट्स वर्क स्लाइटली डिफरेंट। तो योर मल्टीप्लाइंग फैक्टर वॉट एवर यू गेट, सब्ट्रैक्ट दैट फ्रॉम 1 एंड देन मल्टीप्लाई विथ 100। तो डेसिमल अप्रोच को भी लेट मी राइट इट डाउन। decimal approach, right? So for increase, it's going to be multiplying factor minus 1 multiplied by 100. And for decrease, it is going to be 1 minus multiplying factor multiplied by 100, right? So I hope I've made myself clear that how to use the decimal approach as well as the fraction approach. Now it is up to you that what approach do you want to follow. Right? It's completely up to you that which approach you want to follow. After this video, once you have practiced it enough from your end, I'm uploading a list of 10 questions that you will be solving to get a better understanding of it. Now, all those questions would be on these similar lines only. For percentage increase, for percentage decrease, and very simple values I'll be giving. Use your copy, use your calculator, solve it. First, solve it. If you want, you can first solve it with calculator. Why? Because सबसे पहले speed is not important. Conceptual clarity is important. So if you're able to solve it via calculator, it makes one thing clear that conceptual clarity आ चुकी है. और conceptual clarity आ गई तो पेपर पे solve करना अपने आप आ जाएगा. बट अगर पेपर पे solve करना आ गया बट conceptual clarity नहीं है, it's of no use. ठीक है, nothing you will be able to do. So after this, go and practice, write some random values. Write some random values and check your values. कि क्या सही है, कितना सही कर पा रहे. And then solve those 10-15 questions that I'll be uploading at the end of this, after this particular video. I'll be uploading some questions. तो उनको solve करो so that you practice on this part. Right? So I hope I made myself clear. And let's move to the third topic for percentage.